Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Washington. I'm, convinced that as somebody who runs the third largest airport, that the issues of the FAA that deal with air traffic controllers, deal with next-gen systems, deal with the integration of new entrants, that you have a very good grasp of those issues. You have to if you're running a large organization like the airport every day. And my sense is your history of being a manager of large organizations with with thousands of employees also gives you a very good sense of some of the challenges of moving a big bureaucracy to address the technology issues of today. That is clearly any organization's challenge today, is how do you adapt to innovation and new technology. But I do want to get you on the record as it relates to the aviation safety bill that I mentioned that Senator Wicker and I passed out of committee after response to the MAX accidents, and the fact that we feel that industry and FAA got too cozy, that they moved away from the delegated engineering representative model in which the FAA was really in charge, and somehow confused the people on the ground as to the level of oversight that was required. Our reforms made sure that those employees who are doing this certification work were directly hired, that they were able to communicate directly with the FAA, and that they were able to be removed from the FAA. So I want to know first and foremost, do you support that focus, and will you continue to fight to implement the oversight of an aggressive FAA and holding manufacturers accountable for their work in engineering?
Senator, thank you for the question. Absolutely, yes. I think Administrator Dixon and Acting Administrator Nolan have done a great job of sort of foot stomping that we are the regulator. I will continue that. I will also continue the implementation of the Reform Act and look to accelerate the outstanding things that have not been completed. So absolutely, yes.
One of the things that isn't completed, and I think we may end up having Mr. Nolan back here to talk about this, is just because we want to continue to make progress, and he is the safety lead, is that the legislation also called for integrated project leadership between NASA, the Air Force, and the FAA, and making sure that novel certification, technology that's just emerging, it's not lost on anybody, particularly the NTSB and some of the international organizations, that the implementation of new technology and human factors is something that we should be paying more attention to. So what will you do to make sure that this particular mission, this what some of us call graybeards, that the FAA is populated with the right technical aviation expertise, that counter-referencing between NASA and Air Force and others are implemented so that we really do have the best and brightest technology leads as we are going through the certification process?
Well, again, thank you for the question, Senator. I know the FAA has been doing a number of things around recruiting and around making sure that compensation is adequate to bring folks in. I will continue that. I will, my track record of standing up various training facilities and various training programs will allow me to attract great talent into the FAA. I think it's also important for us to go to every corner of this country looking for talent. At the Denver International Airport, the Center of Equity and Excellence in Aviation, we're doing just that. And my plan would be to scale that up to look for the best talent in this country to bring into FAA.
And what are your ideas for how to get that done, given that we do have real FAA critical expertise? What are your ideas on how to change this?
Well, a couple of things. We were talking about my military career. There's something called the Transition Assistance Program in terms of the military. I'm well familiar with those. These are programs that help soldiers get out of the military. I think that is an incredible source and a resource for great talent. I am tied into those transition assistance programs or TAP programs. I would start there. I would start in our colleges. I would start in our HBCUs. I would start in places around the country to show people a career pathway. It's one thing to tell a young person, get into the aviation industry. It's quite another thing to show them what that means and show them sort of the cradle to executive leadership pathway. And that is what we have designed in my years in transportation.
Well, this is going to be one of the very biggest challenges at the FAA, is getting the right talent and getting them there very quickly. Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Madam Chair.